Hey, what's up, everybody? Back with another video from Kiev. So on May 31st, I published a video entitled Trump 4D Chess and the Future of Ukraine. And so I kind of wanted to put out this video as an update because some interesting things have been happening since I published that video. So in the video, and I would suggest any of you to go back and watch the video, listen to some things I said, and then kind of look how things have progressed forward to where we are today, and then judge me on my accuracy. So in the video at the 33-minute mark, I made the prediction that I thought we would have some type of resolution, or at least be in the middle of some serious negotiations at about the 90-day to 6-month mark, so 90 to 180 days. And so we're almost at the 60-day mark, and things are really starting to progress. There's been some movement towards the positive from the U.S. side. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a update to the video and recap, and we'll go from there. So one of the things I had talked about in the previous video was the bipartisan Senate bill introduced by Republican Senator Lindsey Graham and Democrat Senator Blumenthal. I forget his first name, I apologize. And this was basically a secondary sanctions bill on Russia that would impose a 500% tariff on any country buying anything, petroleum products, gas, oil, fuel, technology, anything from Russia. And so where I said that bill would be very effective if it was passed, I explained in the video that there was actually some pushback from the European counterparts because some of the EU and NATO member countries, it would have affected them as well. So since then, there's been language introduced into the bill that if a country is buying Russian gas or oil, but is also simultaneously providing assistance to Ukraine, then it would give them a grace period of, I forget, I want to say 180, but for some reason I have this number 270 stuck in my head, but that's an odd number, so I don't know. But it would basically give these countries a grace period to try to correct that before it actually imposed these tariffs, massive tariffs on the countries that are still purchasing Russian gas and oil, as long as they were also providing assistance to Ukraine as well. So that language has been introduced. The White House has pushed back on the bill a little bit because the White House wants the language changed. The bill previously stated that the president would impose these sanctions, and the White House wants that language changed to may impose these sanctions, therefore giving the president flexibility to, turn the sanctions on, turn them off, impose, not impose. So basically give him some leverage to still be able, wiggle room for negotiation as well. And then, so since then, the bill it's a Senate introduced bill. It now has a backing of either 85 or 87 senators. So therefore, it would be a veto-proof. Majority backs this bill. And the last I saw an interview with Senator Graham, he said they're going to try to push this thing through and get it passed and signed prior to their August break, which would be right in that window that I was talking about, 6 months, 90 days to 6 months. So that's moving forward. But I also wanted to show you some interesting things I read about this bill as well. So a couple of other things. So recently, the new 2026 NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, was introduced to Congress because this is basically it becomes the bill that it provides for defense funding for the U.S. And this is where a lot of the funding for Ukraine comes in. And so one of the things that I wanted to point out is in the new NDAA, as you'll see here, they introduced a clause that would stop the Pentagon from halting intelligence sharing as it previously had. So at first I saw this and it kind of bothered me because I thought, well, this is the Congress basically interfering with foreign policy. But then the more I think about it, I said, this is actually smart, because when it says it keeps the Pentagon from halting intelligence sharings, that means the Secretary of Defense. So the Secretary of Defense cannot unilaterally pause intelligence sharing because it's the President of the United States who sets foreign policy. Our Congress in the US sets domestic policy, the President sets foreign policy. So what this language, them introducing this language, what it does is actually preserves the power of the office of the President to conduct foreign policy as needed, and does not allow the Secretary of Defense to unilaterally interfere with that policy without the approval of the President. So that's one thing that I saw in this. And the other thing I saw, flip over here, also to do with the new National Defense Authorization Act, Congress has increased from 300 million to 500 million its its contribution to the I believe it's Ukraine Security Assistance Fund. So this is one of the other. Now this this wasn't the money that Congress approved last year, the 60 billion that went for Taiwan, Ukraine, and Israeli assistance. So this wasn't part of that. This is a different Congress-approved fund that also is used to enhance both U.S. military support to Ukraine and also to assist Ukraine as well. And so, yeah, there it is, the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative, and that they've approved the funding all the way through till 2028. So that's two things of good news that we see coming from the White House this past week. I'm sorry, in the past couple of weeks. So some things are starting to change. This all kind of started a couple of weeks ago when Trump had talked about he had a phone call with Putin, and he wasn't happy. It wasn't fruitful. It didn't go anywhere. And in response to that, Putin launched a massive drone and rocket attack and missile attack on Ukraine, and they've kind of been going back and forth since then. There was some controversy about a temporary munitions package shipment that was supposed to come to Ukraine being paused because of security defense review. That whole thing was strange. The media immediately jumped on that and said that that's so. The White House basically put out a statement, or the Pentagon put out a statement, said that was paused pending a security review because they were concerned about U.S. stockpiles running low. Media jumped on this and said that didn't sound very plausible at all, and it sounded like just an excuse. And then ironically, last week, The Guardian out of the UK came out and published an article that said that as far as like the Patriot missile system, specifically missiles, the U.S. was only running at about 25% of its capacity needed to maintain current defense systems around the world. So let's talk about the Patriot a little bit. The Patriot system is made by Raytheon Technologies out of the U.S. manufacturer. And it produces about one battery per year. So a battery is a control module and 12 launchers. Each one of these launchers houses 4 missiles. So currently there are, I think I read, 14 Patriot systems deployed per year. Around the world. There are currently 14 Patriot systems deployed. So if you take 14 full systems of 12 launchers each times 4, because each launcher holds 4, that's like 768 missiles. So everybody wants the PAC-3 missile, which is also produced by Raytheon, because this is the one that can take down ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. Let's see, it's Lockheed Martin produces one called, I think it's called the MET-C missile, and it will take down cruise missiles, but it won't take down ballistic missiles. So everybody wants the PAC-3 missile. Well, Raytheon only produces about 650 of these a year. There were quite a few used, recently by Israeli Air Defense or Iron Dome. The U.S. has sent quite a few to Ukraine that have been used over the last 3 years, and the U.S. used a few to protect its base in Qatar when Iran basically did retaliatory strikes last month. I think that was last month or very beginning of this month. My days are getting confused. But the whole point is, everybody says, let's just go ahead and ship all these missiles to Ukraine. And the problem is the stockpiles are really low, and they're just not produced at that high of a quantity. So that's one of the issues with that. Trump recently said that they're going to provide 10 more Patriot missiles. Whenever he says that, I assume he just means the PAC-3 missiles, because there's a PAC-1, the PAC-2 missiles. They're older technology missiles. They won't take down the ballistics, but they will take down some. I just told you now. I forgot what they were called. Ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. They will take down like some cruise missiles type things. The MET-Cs will take down cruise, and a lot of people don't realize these Patriot systems. They don't use these on drones. A lot of these missiles, especially the PAC-3s, run about $1.2 million a piece, and you just don't want to waste that on a drone. So, over here they've got the Vampire system, the Iris-Ts, mobile, called PPOs, mobile air defense teams, that they use those to specifically take down drones, and the Patriot systems are used specifically for cruise missiles and ballistic missiles, like the Oreshnik is the new one everybody's worried about. Kinzhal's, Toshkas, if Russia's having Toshkas left, and then Caliber missiles as well. So while 10 missiles doesn't sound like a lot, Russia doesn't shoot a lot of ballistic missiles. It fires, more cruise missiles than not. And 10, 10 may not sound like a lot, but 10 is better than none. I see now Trump has released a statement yesterday, and I believe he's supposed to be making a full statement on Monday that the U.S. is going to basically sell more Patriots and systems to NATO, and then NATO is going to give those to Ukraine. So that's not the U.S. directly giving them to Ukraine, it's NATO purchasing. Makes you wonder who NATO is going to purchase. NATO itself cannot purchase these under the defense clauses right now, but individual countries within NATO can. And I know that France and Germany have already said that they are willing to purchase additional Patriot systems for Ukraine. So I'll be interested in the different, the logistics about how that comes out, who's actually paying for what, and where these systems are going. Bottom line is, it looks like U.S. policy is finally turning in the correct and just position on Ukraine. It looks like the Trump administration, specifically Trump himself, is finally at his end of his rope, as we say, with Putin, and it looks like he is finally coming over to the right side, the correct side, where we've all wanted him to since this all began. So that's it. I just wanted to do kind of a quick update. We're getting close to that 90-day mark that I said, would be maybe around the time where we see things start to come to resolution. That will also be, like I said at the beginning of the video, that will be about the time that Senator Graham votes on their bill to push through the Senate, the Russia sanctions bill. And so, like I said, we're getting close to the timeline that I kind of predicted. And then on top of this, and I can make another video, I won't go into it now, but on top of all this, Russia is facing some serious economic pressure right now, and its economy is teetering. I mean, it's hanging on by strings. So, but I can do a separate video on that as well. So that's it. Just want to kind of do an update to, say that I'm keeping an eye on things. It looks like the U.S. has finally, turned the corner and headed in the right direction, and hopefully the administration stays this course along in conjunction with our European allies, and we can bring a resolution to this thing. You never know, maybe before the end of the year, if things accelerate, as I hope they will. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. See you guys soon.